Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Thursday, and this is the Frontline Show. Tyrone Muhammad and Carter Trust on IntellectualRadio.com. I have a special guest here today. That's Brother Phillip Bradley. Phillip Bradley. We're gonna get into some issues, some politics with him because he's been dealing for a while in the political space as well as the his peace initiative that I like to talk about, and I've argued with him so many times on this Gandhi, Dr. King model of peace versus a few other kind of peace methods and opportunities. But we're here today, and this is the Frontline Show, and I want to say, first of all, sponsored by Support Your Local Weed Man. Sponsored by Support Your Local Weed Man for the first time. And anybody that would like to be a part of the Frontline Show and sponsor shows, let us know, because we're going to start building this thing out, put some banners up in the back, and this show should pay for itself because we deliver good messages, good content, and we all family. So with that being said, live call in that's 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. As always, we want to hear from you. Tune in, share the live. Remember, subscribe and share to IntellectualRadio.com. Subscribe and share to IntellectualRadio.com so we can make it the radio station that it's supposed to be. With that being said, we're going to go right into it and introduce Brother Phillip Bradley. Phillip, tell the people something. You got that camera right there. Talk to the people. Tell them about you, your organization, and how long you've been dealing in the political realm. Because I've seen you in several campaigns.
Right. And let me just say thank you, Brother Tyrone Muhammad. One thing I could say is I appreciate your consistency. I've been seeing you for years, and you are consistent, and that's the key to manhood. But what I've been working consistently as well for the last 40 years. I've been working since 1986 in the health, interest, rights, and needs of African American people. From doing agricultural projects, from building houses, from doing violence prevention programs citywide for CPS, changing laws around children's rights, dealing with closing newspapers down that was racist and repugnant. And so, the Million Man March with Minister Farrakhan, my teacher was James Bevel, and I worked and lived with him. So that's where I got most of my
blast from the past.
Yeah, so James Bevel is my mentor, and so I worked with him for 20 years, and then ran a non-for-profit that dealt with teaching character development. And it's so funny, Tyrone. He said we disagree. We don't. We just brothers from another mother. So that you get iron sharpens iron. But see, the key to nonviolence is we get messed up with words. Mm-hmm. The question is, how do you respect yourself? How you don't violate yourself? First rule. Then how you don't violate people you say you love, call you nonviolence. Because even with her, that's who you have to turn the cheek with. See, we ain't ready to put our show on the road, deal with the Russians. How you love people that's right around you. How you go the extra mile for those that's right around you. How you forgive people that's right around you. See, if you can't,
that bring up a solid point, right?
Because if you can't do that for those you say you know and love,
you hear what you said?
You can't do this.
I don't want to block. I want you to go back, but don't forget that point. How you close? Yeah, get closer to the mic like that. So how do you rationalize how we over the last 2 years, I think, have accepted and said we love non-citizens that wasn't.
We ain't say that, Tyrone.
No.
We ain't say that.
We didn't tie the country up.
I tried.
We, Tyler, me and you will just be in jail. And they'll keep going on. When I say we, I understand that we can't do it. Resurrect the dead without disciples. And no matter how powerful Jesus is, he didn't do that work by himself.
He needed disciples.
So I just want to look at the oxymoronic aspect of
that's
that.
The problem. See, when you don't know about violence, when you're doing it, you don't know what is being done to you. That's the problem. You are blinded to your response. It's like you don't know when you being violated because you already violated yourself.
Yes.
So you have to stop violating yourself and have some self-respect where you can see that when people are really disrespecting you in reality, not just
so part of violence, preventing violence, is to know that you're being violated.
That's the first thing you have to acknowledge.
So you think then that black people don't even know they've been violated, at least by have been consistently violated by one party?
Well, yeah, but once again, as long as you keep going around disrespecting yourself, that's how they get away with it. Because you don't always see what they exactly is the constitutional violation against yourself.
Because you're in a constant state of disrespect.
Right. Of yourself and those right
and
around
so
you.
because you're in a constant state of disrespect, you are not only do you take it and give it, but you expect the disrespect because you're in a constant state of disrespect.
That's the syndrome you in.
It's like being in a constant state. Remember we talked earlier this week about the state of offense.
Yeah.
And when you're in a state of offense constantly, you are as offensive as you are offended.
Right. Yeah. See, there's 8 stages of violence. The first stage is self-disrespect. That's the first stage. That's how you respect yourself. See, can't nobody make you not be intelligent. You got to do that to yourself.
Right.
Can't nobody make you not love you. You got to make some choices about that.
Right.
Can't nobody make you do that. Can't nobody make you not know God. You got to do that yourself.
You got to be really ignorant yourself.
It's some self-respect, some self-disrespect you have bought into, or some myths of imagination. But then the second is domestic violence. One of us or both of us have some self-disrespect. See? And then the third stage is abuse and neglect, when children are seeing parents disrespecting themselves and going through domestic violence. So that's stage 3. Then stage 4 is when you give children bad information on how to solve problems without killing people. It's like, how do you solve a problem without killing people? Well, that's a reasonable question to ask, because we have to live in a world that you can solve a problem without killing people. That's not an unreasonable problem to solve. Okay, because if you can't do it, you can't get mad when another white man does it. All he's doing is don't know how to solve a problem without killing people. And so we have to figure that out. And we have figured that out.
What when you say that they solve problem, but they don't solve problem without killing people?
But they don't.
Technically, they are they are the biggest killers of the world.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. They don't even start with the question.
Yeah.
But nonviolence start with, how do I live a life without killing myself and killing you? That's a reasonable question.
Yeah.
And then when you think it through, you can figure it out. How do I live with my wife without killing her? See, I work in Cook County Jail doing trainings, and 40% of the brothers is in jail on interaction dealing with women.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to respond. They don't know how to turn the other cheek. They don't know how to
walk
go
away,
extra mile.
or
they don't know
away.
How to humble themselves. And if they just did that, they become wiser and not the conniver. I mean, you be wiser, man. Don't think somebody.
But I don't want brothers telling me, bro, you let them sit up and say brothers is doing this. No, bro. I've seen women do it. Women nowadays strike men or hit men more than men hit them, and then expect not to get hit back. Right. No. Honestly,
right.
You expect somebody that don't love themselves not to hit you back.
Right. One
after
of us
you violated them.
It could be her. If she don't have any self-respect, it can create a domestic violence situation.
Yeah.
I've never had one of those situations because I knew early on I didn't like being hit, so I don't hit people.
Yeah.
And if you hit me, I'm probably gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Now, stage 5 is murder, when the citizen kills another citizen. Now we going from personal violence to social violence. See, you can decide how you're gonna treat yourself. You can decide how you're gonna treat your spouse. You can decide on how you're gonna treat your children, and you can decide on what advice you tell your children how to respect other people. That's a personal choice.
Yeah.
That's all personal choices. Now, if you decide to disrespect yourself and it spreads into your relationship and it contaminates your children go out hurting people because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
That's stage 4. That's violence. But by the time you get there, the child feel abused and neglected. They learn bad habits. They see, and there's no programs for that. See, he's like, what class teach self-respect? See, that's what Malcolm figured out. How you just start respecting yourself? That's what King figured out. He walks through there. How you just respect, in spite of what they believe or think or know, how do I respect myself? And my own self-respect is the keto. that would flip the whole script. Because they so used to getting you where you would disrespect yourself. They want you to disrespect yourself. They want you to use drugs.
Yeah.
They want you to be violent. They want to be able to justify.
Yeah.
But as long as you respecting yourself, you and God's the majority. They can't stop you.
Caller.
They can't stop that.
Good evening. How are you? Wow.
You hit the button. You hit the button. That
Mhm.
phone button.
I did it. Caller, good evening. How are you?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. This is Marlon Watson. What's going on, Tyrone?
What's up, Marlon?
Marlon.
Y'all know they got a whole prohibition THC cafe. They got a whole ladies' night over there tonight, and they pack. So y'all go over there and see it.
I'm gonna be over there. Probably after next week. But yeah, I just ran across saw your show on Facebook, and I saw my man Phil Bradley on there. Man, what's up, Phil?
Hey, Marlon, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I just really wanted to call and say I'm glad. It's good to see you putting your teachings and your message out there. And I just want to say what this brother be teaching. Phil is a masterful teacher. Masterful. I done seen him in action, and I just want to say, just encouragement that what you teach need to be taught, brother.
Appreciate you,
saying
Marlon.
need to be taught. No, that's all I want to say.
And we schedule to go to Springfield next week.
Right. That's right.
All right.
All right, Marlon. Good.
All right,
Peace. Hit that. Yeah. Yeah. So continue, Phil, please.
No,
You was at what stage? You was at
right,
the last stage,
no,
right?
No, so personal violence is how you treat yourself, how you treat your significant other,
Close to the mic,
how you treat, how you be an example in front of your children. How do you solve a problem without killing people, or divorcing or breaking up? How you solve a problem? Because problems happen. How you solve a problem, but then also how you give them the information on how to solve problems that they don't have to be killed or have to be killed in a situation. How they navigate using thinking.
Mhm.
See, how they navigate with this.
When I hear you say that, that's the fourth, that's the sixth.
That's the fourth. Now the fifth is that's the personal. Now social is when the citizen kills another citizen. That's stage 5. So by the time the police get involved, that's stage 5. 4 of the acts of violence have already went on unaddressed.
Mm-hmm.
So then stage 6 is capital punishment, when the state kills the citizen for killing the citizen.
Yeah.
But we know killing don't stop killing.
Yeah, we know that.
You can't kill your way out of killing.
Yeah.
So welcome to the central. Then stage 7 is war, where you then could kill other people's citizens,
casualties and everything else.
Then comes stage 8 called genocide. So those are all social acts of violence. But when you have too many personal acts of violence or syndrome, you don't have the impetus to solve any social problems. People who disrespect themselves ain't stopping murder in the streets. People who going through domestic violence ain't campaigning against capital punishment and people getting falsely convicted. Abusing your children ain't boo-hooing to war that war should stop. They like, give me a chance. People who spreading gossip and stereotypes about other people, they don't know how to stop genocide.
Right.
So you have to solve those personal problems, even have social competence. See, and that's what we be seeing. It's like, why this guy ain't responding in his private life? He got too much going on.
Has gotten so wrapped up in his environment that he doesn't know how to break the cycle of violence that has just been permeated
his private life
throughout his life.
Public change. His private life can't make
but even in that, and that probably dealing with the social aspect, because we allow records companies and these airwaves and these video games and all of these things and phones, right, to perpetrate violence live. Like even with the music, it's talking all the time about how I'm gonna slide, drill, and kill. And even the woman, when she talk about the abuse of her body and what it is and how she gonna do it, the wet and all that, she don't even understand that she's being violent to herself.
That she's violating herself.
And she's spreading that to other young ladies who now, when we see young girls fighting on the streets, they had to emulate that from somewhere.
Right.
They didn't just get that out of kid came to birth and they wanted to beat other girls up. And I just think that our government, and I often say our government, in that we elect these people to solve a social ill or issue or economic issue. But yet we never take personal responsibility in our own household or block or community.
And we read other virtues into them too, as if they have figured it out. They don't respect themselves either in private.
Yeah,
They have
exactly.
domestic problems too.
Even with the
Right,
parties,
right,
the
right,
Republicans
right,
and the
right.
Democrats
See,
has
they
violence
fight
against
among
each
each
other.
other.
And because of their own personal problems, they don't even have any social impetus either.
No.
They have no social construct to change it because they ain't changed nothing themselves.
But and I'm gonna probably gonna respond to this once I say this here, because I watched and I'm listening to the vitriol coming from the left against the right. But for 12 years, I watched them say none of the same stuff
Right.
as policy and politics violated our communities.
Right.
And then here come the migrant issue, here come the gender issue, here come the school choice or not lack of choice issues, parental choice. And then now Trump in office. Now here's the vitriol. I often thought the Republicans was the most violent and vitriotic, or is that a word?
Yeah.
But the stuff I've heard come out of Democrats who claim, both parties claim God, right? So I'm trying to understand, where is the show of unity, support structure for a system that we say is a democracy that the people elect? Because the people clearly elected Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean across the board.
Right.
So when do those on the left submit to what the issue and then explain that, and
right,
maybe you can
right.
say that Colin may want to chime in.
See, Dr. King explained it well. He says don't sleep through a revolution. And people sleeping through a revolution. He said,
absolutely.
So he said, a man went to sleep. King George was the president. When he woke up, George Washington was the president. And he didn't do nothing to make none of this stuff happen. So he didn't know who he was when he woke up. Well, we're going through that same thing, but because the thing is, you have to make the mental adjustment. When slavery was abolished, it was some whites and blacks could not make the mental adjustment like that. Like that didn't happen. When segregation, and people didn't make the mental adjustment. You have to make the. I don't care if your house you got burned down. You
the
have to
Democrats,
you have to make the mental adjustment.
With all other voices that we was telling them how we felt, they never made the mental adjustment to correct their behavior against how we was feeling.
They never made
exactly.
They never made the adjustment.
And what has happened?
Because the revolution was happening.
Is instead of making the adjustment, instead of dealing with the fact that you messed up because you didn't listen to the voice of the people, you have this agenda, this socialist agenda that you want to push, and the people are saying to you, no, no, we not with it, no.
Right.
And instead of redirecting
or finding a what they call moderate,
or having a kumbaya moment where you say to yourself, wow, the people have spoken. Y'all, they not okay with this. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's think of a way that we can maybe have our cake and eat it too, where we can appease the people, because the people are what really matter.
Yeah, they the voters.
And get some of the things that we want too. Yeah. That is not what the Democratic Party has done. And instead of admitting we made some missteps, this is not really what the people want, we need to redirect. These dumb folks then double down. And instead of dealing with the fact that y'all messed up, it's so much easier to blame the Republicans. And Trump's not doing this and Trump's not doing that. And if you look at this situation and you look at that situation, deal with the fact that y'all messed up.
And what we got to remember too is, see, Trump is new to being a Republican. He's been a Democrat.
He's new to being a politician.
Right, period. Right. This is a new game. So but he's been a staunch Democrat much longer than he's been a Republican.
They're not going to say that.
But they're not going to say that.
Of course.
But let me just give you a little glimpse of this thing of the Republican. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president, but he was the 15th president. There was 14 other presidents before him, all Democrat, who did not have any interest in abolishing slavery whatsoever.
Yeah.
He was the first one who came out the abolition party. That's what the Republican Party. We are abolition. We against stuff. We against being a slave. We against taxes, ignorance. We against you infringe. We against stuff. Okay.
Right.
We against you violating us. We against that for real. Well, the first Republican president got his brains blown out.
So did.
Let's remember.
Yeah.
Okay. He was disliked, the most hated man on the planet, and they killed him. And anything he thought that could really solve the problem after his death, they took it all back because they couldn't make the mental adjustment. They could not make the mental adjustment that all men are supposed to be free. They could make that mental adjustment, so they created segregation. But then it took close to into the 60s before some other Republicans came. 90 years went by before another Republican got into office, because they wouldn't let him in after Reconstruction. They wouldn't let him in after Jim Crowism. See, and it would.
So how many years of that did we have Democrat rule?
Well,
over 50, over 80.
Yeah.
Over 80 years.
Yeah, over 80. Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
We're closer to 100 actually.
Yeah. So so in other words, you've had Democratic rule longer than you've had Republican rule in terms of rule of order, laws, society.
And then just from the Democratic Party perspective, they are the ones who did usher in Jim Crow. They are the ones who did the Klan. They
say it, please, because people.
So you really, if you understand the history of these parties, you have to say this is what you're signing up for. The history of this party. Now, they have done some social programs here and there, but we just went through a social program. Why don't you give $300 million to homeless people versus people who shouldn't be? See, what about these people, right? So we see they don't hear the constituents. They don't.
No.
Well, they were slaves. The slave was a constituent. They don't have to hear them.
That's right.
They don't have to hear them.
Of a person.
No,
right?
no. And they just count you as a vote, and they keep themselves in power and just count you as a head. They don't count your soul, mind, your interest. They don't count none of that. None of that counts. It's their own agenda that counts. And that's what slavery is. That you are living up to another man's agenda at your expense.
So if they listening to you, if they don't listen to you, but they count your mind, they count your vote, they don't count your soul, they don't count your body, they don't care about your Jesus. They really don't care about your Jesus. They don't care about soul, don't care about your Muhammad's. And they don't care about your Jewish heritage. Yeah, they care about Jews. They better not say nothing crazy about Jewish. But they don't care about Muslim, they don't care about Christians. And so you're saying that then you operating in a slave to a party.
Right.
You're really essentially a slave to a party that don't count you as a voice,
don't count you, don't respect you
as a person,
don't value you.
And within that level of consciousness, there's 150 plus thousand people who have OD'd off drugs. 80-some thousand have committed suicide.
Yeah.
50,000 have killed each other. 200,000 people come up missing every year.
Incarceration. Mass incarceration. Don't ever stop.
And this is on autopilot. This is just on autopilot.
And no addressing the issue of everything with women and kids being murdered in the cities. No addressing of that, but you got money for non-citizens. You got money. We're gonna talk about killing babies, abortions. We're gonna talk about gender change. We're gonna talk about babies having gender surgeries at 7 years old. Oh Lord, what the hell?
Yeah, but you know,
it needs to be because the people don't talk about
and everything comes off as extremes. Like I said, when a revolution happened, things going to change. When President Obama won, they were like, "Man, I hope you don't change the world too much." He said, "Elections have consequences, man."
That's right.
And that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Elections have consequences, man.
Y'all hear that?
We're living it.
Elections have. Well, Brandon Johnson. Election have consequences.
Yes.
So you can't not. You have to make the mental adjustment when you see the reality.
And that's the same you talk that you being one who was a part of the Vallis team. And my question to you is that, and what I said, I remember what I used to tell you that Vallis never gonna lose. And the reason they're gonna lose because violence is relying on white folks to actually come out, and they stay home or went somewhere else.
No.
Brandon couldn't win without white folks.
Right.
Period.
No, and the thing is, people believe they own hype.
Yeah.
And they tell you exactly what they're gonna do. And go do it. And don't be surprised that they do it. Brandon Johnson went in for the people. We just didn't know which people he was talking about. But he did it.
Right.
He went all in for the people. We're gonna get him.
And we know that wasn't us.
Now
right?
we
Baby,
wasn't too
listen.
specific on who the people was.
Listen.
Now let me
We never asked him, did we?
We did not.
We never, because he was black and got a pyramid on his
Was
head.
that issue of migrants coming in at that point? It wasn't. With Lori, that wasn't a
It
question.
started under Lori.
But it wasn't a question of whether or not Brandon would continue that, was it? I don't remember it.
Never came up.
That even didn't come up during the campaign about. But see, now let's go into this whole social violence. Here you have, we going to have wars on all fronts. You said, now what's the difference between war and genocide? It's a really fine line, but what's the difference between war and genocide? Because we actually
when you look at genocide, it's an ethnic form of ethnic cleansing of a particular, even though black people are being put either operating on genocides for ourselves, socially, politically, economically, we've been murdered on every front. And then war is that as a government or a country, a people against another government country, multiple people,
right.
Or the whole country is involved.
Right. Yeah. Let's reduce to a real simple denominator. War is when they count everything.
Mm-hmm.
They count the bullets, they count the dead, they count the gallon of gas, they count how many miles. Now, no matter how much death go on, they keep a tidy count.
Yeah.
They count it. Now, genocide is when they don't keep count. Or they lose
So you
count.
really don't even know.
So you don't even know.
So when they don't count, you don't count. They only count.
Say that again, because that was deep.
No.
Say that. I need you to repeat that.
If they don't count you in, they have counted you out.
Wow.
You only count when they count you.
Y'all hear that?
So they haven't. Whenever there's a mass grave, I don't care what your color is. That's genocide. They don't even count the people. They just
dump them.
So like for instance, when we start talking about 1,000 people died Israeli, but 40,000-50,000 Palestinian women and children, and they don't even count those bodies no more.
Right.
There's no real number about how many of American-made bombs
killed. Show you exactly. So
killed.
when the war initially started, they killed 5 kids.
Carter, they gonna get us.
They're counted.
They gonna get us, Carter.
No, they went from 5 kids, 7 women, 8 men, and every day kept a nice little tidy count. That was called war. Then it went from individual count to 500, no gender necessarily specific. Now, the same thing happens every day, every Monday in Chicago.
Yeah.
Guess what they announce every Monday morning? Every Monday morning, guess what they announce?
How many shootings over the weekends and how many
death statistics.
The grand total, 72 shot, 25 dead. And that's from Friday to Monday. Now, they do this every Monday.
Every Monday.
As if nobody got shot and killed.
Desensitized.
No. Nobody got shot and killed Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
The total number is not even been added.
We don't even know what the total number has been because they keep only telling you the weekend total. Now you know where the weekend total actually come from? It come from a stereotype. It's a social stereotype.
You know, it's interesting that you would say that because today I actually looked at the fact that we have the highest per capita death rate as of this year in the country. Right here in Illinois.
And we have a governor talking about being a president for the world. You can't even govern Illinois, and y'all gonna think you're gonna allow somebody like him to govern the country when you have no accountability to the communities.
Let's talk about the governor.
No, but let's go back to the war and genocide. So here we got some numbers that they're not keeping accurate count.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not counting it correctly, that's genocide.
Genocide.
We don't even know how many people died every week. They at least told you that there's 1,000 in Ukraine. No, the 72 that got shot, between now and next Friday, how many of them going to die
from the womb.
From the wounds.
And they're not going to come back and
You know what I mean?
report
Is
that.
in a coma. You know what I mean? He's dying on life support.
Yeah.
And this is every week.
Paralyzed.
Or
paralyzed.
They are permanent.
Or they're permanently.
They're permanent.
And this is every week.
Bill.
Yeah.
They're actually a permanent bill for the government.
In the millions.
Wow.
And this is, they clock it.
That's deep.
No, every weekend. 26 died just over the weekend, but they don't tell you who didn't survive the week. And it happened on Tuesday, it happened on Wednesday, it happened on Thursday. They just did from Friday to Sunday. That's it. And they desensitize us. But they not keeping count. Because if you really did know the count, you should be alarmed. Yeah. You should be outraged.
I've talked about this on this show, how I looked at a statistic, and I think this was back in 2020. And they did the statistic, and it said that, and this is for the city of Chicago alone. And so these numbers are probably prevalent in most African-American or Black communities throughout the country. But in Chicago alone, and this number was taken starting in 2020, we lost 120, and this was just the number that they gave us, 123 Black men and boys between the ages of 14 and 26. Now think about that. What is that number at the end of 12 months? Right. What is that number now that we're 5 years behind, 5 years later? And I want you also to pay attention to the ages.
Sure.
And we spent some time just now talking about genocide. Mm-hmm. If that's not genocide, then tell me.
Because that's childbearing ages and producing.
Because that's the age at which you're going to be producing. Not to mention the fact that if you're cutting the life off between 14 and 26, keep in mind that even if those men were not going to have children during that time, they ain't never gonna have them because they're dead.
But then couple that with the genocide of Planned Parenthood to kill Black women wombs.
Oh, well, so you got
God dog it, man. Right. And then sisters are sitting around here acting like somebody doing them wrong. But like it's crazy. And then this the excuse they want to say, though. We got to kill that. We did that a lot last year. We killed it. Because they want to make, well, what if she was raped? As though that's like 1% or 0.1% of every case of abortion. Right. It's not because nobody was raped. Right. It's because you got pregnant without protection.
Right. And the same thing.
And there is way too much out here.
Too much.
They got the morning after. They got the minute after.
Under the sun.
They got
after.
10
if
seconds
you jump
after.
over the moon, you got to get it after.
Listen. There is no excuse.
For y'all just tuning in, this is the new Frontline show. We back with Tyler Muhammad Carter Trust, and we're here with Phillip Bradley, and we're talking about peace, and we most definitely with the I think we got like 15, 20 minutes. We most definitely want to talk about politics and how he feel about the current administration after he supported violence. So did I. Because I didn't vote for violence because necessarily. No, I'm going to tell you, I voted for violence not because of his color. Right. I voted for violence because I believe he was older, he been through more, and he can govern. He will govern better than Brandon Johnson. And I also voted for violence because I thought we can negotiate for our community with him.
And we have in the past.
And I knew I couldn't negotiate with CTU or certain class of people within the Brandon Johnson administration. And that has proved to be the case where we can't even get sanctuary cities removed. We can't get a halt on funding non-citizens and figuring out we couldn't get a vote on on the $830 million. It's nothing we won with this administration. There's nothing we as a people got him not to do that we disagreed with.
And guess what? It's not going to happen.
No, it was so interesting. You was the first guy, you and Andre Smith, on the first bus that hit Chicago.
Yep.
They was blocking the buses. Said nope. From the very first bus.
Wow.
The very first
and
bus.
to the first shelter. Open shelter in our neighborhood.
Sure it was. He was blocking the street.
And we was the first one to go to jail.
No.
For standing against that.
Yep.
That's why,
man. Yeah.
And then to see it in full circle,
right. Mm-hmm.
That it went from 51 million to what? How many?
300.
Right now, it is currently 800 and something million people. They just did a number. This is for the state.
Yeah.
I think in Chicago, I think it's just 89,000. But for the state of Illinois.
No, I'm talking about money.
Oh, money.
We went from 51 million.
Oh, yeah.
We fought again.
To 1.2 billion. And don't even, and that's just money.
Right. And that's
don't
what
talk
they
about health care because so that's just money that
or the police, the system that has put them in court.
So that built 1.2 billion. Remember that number only covers what they've been given in monies, what they were given in link.
Right.
Wow.
Excuse me, cell phones, housing. And those kinds of things. That does not count the bill that the state now has for $1.2 billion.
Wow.
And that they did not plan for. And you know, and I was gonna touch on this, but how can we not talk about y'all know this, and this is an oxymoron. And I started looking at these numbers, looking at the money that's been spent, looking at the deficit that both the city and state is, looking at the fact that in order for us to even remotely clean up the mess that Brandon is making right now, we're probably going to have to file bankruptcy as a city.
Dang.
And that's going to be devastating for us. But here's another thing that beguiles me. Our governor is a billionaire. Am I right?
Billion.
Right.
Yeah.
How the heck you can balance your budget, but you can't balance the state budget?
Well,
how are we? No.
He don't care about.
But my thing is, our money should matter to you as much as your money matter to you. And we have a governor who seems to be very careless about our money. But you ain't that way about yours.
But the crazy part is, if we see that, Carter, we don't boycott their hotels. We don't do nothing.
Who don't?
We don't.
Well,
see,
but see, but okay. But see, Tyrone,
we keep shopping
but
with
we
these
got
people.
us. But see, those are the kinds of conversations we're not having. We got to say to our people,
boycott JB Pritzker's. What's the name? Hilton. Boycott the Hilton. We have. Don't tell me. Don't get me boycotting the wrong people's stuff now, Carter. We're gonna get sued.
I'm getting ready to look. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I think it's Hyatt.
It's wait. Let me, because we don't want to mislead.
She said Hilton, but they might need to be boycotted too. Hyatt. It's the Hiltons, I think. Oh, it's the Hyatt. It's the Hyatt.
I'm getting ready to tell you right now.
People go, hey, we go talk about the boycott here. They be like, what we do? What we do?
But we have to begin to educate
the people. We gotta boycott them. JB Pritzker and his family members, because they have violated. He has violated us, so his family must be violated. And they whole business model.
No. See, let's go. That
Hyatt.
Sorry,
Hilton, but y'all may need to be boycotted too.
Yeah, the Hyatt.
That's a solution, Mike.
Right. Now the reason why, even though you're making a great recommendation, but can't nobody.
They can't hear.
No, let's go why they can't do it. See, violent and violent thinking don't even have an intelligent alternative to it. It's not even creative enough to come up with an answer.
Right.
Violence is very predictable on its options and limited. But the problem has to have unlimited thought potential to actually solve the problem. Okay, it can't be just limited to kill you, slap you, stomp you. No, you can't solve a problem that way. You got to think it through. Now, there's 8 steps to nonviolence. Now, no one has been taught that. Now, if I ask you, how many steps is it to NA? You ever heard of NA?
Yep, NA.
How many
12,
steps?
I think.
12 steps.
12
Now,
steps.
you may probably never been to the program, but you at least know it's a 12-step program. If I ask you how many steps is to nonviolence, I don't know. Well, you can't do what you don't know.
Yeah.
And they have not taught blacks nonviolence. You know why? They need you to be violent so they can be justified in their actions. They are not going to teach you the antithesis to disarm them without have to kill one of them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to have that much power.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now you thinking. Okay.
Right.
You out thinking them. Okay. They don't want you to have that much power. You can take that much control. You ain't have to shoot them, kill them, or slap them. Because they know when you do
So
that,
how long has this concept of nonviolence and steps towards nonviolence been around?
Since Jesus Christ.
No. We know that. I can say, I'm saying, how long have like you got 12 steps for in the AA?
That came in the 40s.
How long in the 40s?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. For the 12-step program.
No, I'm talking about nonviolence. Was it Gandhi? Did it start? Where did it start in terms of?
It started with Jesus Christ. He's the architect.
No. I understand that.
But let me tell you,
well, I think the question he's asking is at what point did we begin to commercialize nonviolence?
Well, that's why it don't work. Now, let's go to what he's asking. It's 8 steps. Guess what the first step is?
Because somebody had to come up with.
I'm just telling you, the architect is now Gandhi helped learn it by studying him.
So
now then King studied Gandhi, who studied him, and Bevel studied King, and I worked with Bevel.
Right, I get it.
But it was a mind that formulated it that translated to another mind.
But again, and that brings back to what you said about the mind being willing to find out what you have to do, caring enough to make the self-adjustments in order to progress your community, your area, your business, your school, your wherever you are, your surroundings.
Right. But guess what step 1 is to be in. Guess what step 1 is?
Self-respect, wouldn't it be?
No, that's just one of the stages. The first step, it's the same step that King used, the same step that Rosa Parks used. Anyone who used same steps that Snick used. Step 1, make an observation. Now, do you know what most people won't do is make an observation? Do you know what violence say? Don't say you saw it. You know what violence say? Don't snitch. Violence say you can't even be a witness to your own crime. Violence say you can't make an observation. We've been so trained not to say we saw it. That we never participate when it's time to see what you got to see.
Yes.
Or to do what you need to do.
Right. No, you can't
but
do
that's
it.
all you can't do it. If you can't see it, you can't do it.
Why the people don't see it? Why don't see it? They've been trained not to see it. They've been so trained not to see it that it's almost punishable if they say they saw it.
It is punishable. Social stigma punishes them.
But let's go back to it now. Nonviolence. You got to work past the punishment.
Right. But the very people who are the authorities never see it. They don't see it.
Well, I got you.
Because you can't tell me if you have a violence prevention program and we can see the results of what you do, but the government don't fund what you do, they don't see it. And nor do they care to see it.
Well, the thing is,
it's not enough.
I have to finally accept now the government's not going to fund a revolution.
Exactly. It ain't going to happen.
But what they will do is fund education. If they value that.
If they value what you're teaching.
No, if they just value that. Because you can't even almost tell them what
but they don't value education.
No, you better not.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You better not, because you can't tell them what you're teaching.
See, no. So, but it's getting now step 2. Now, first step is make an observation. So when Jesus showed up, the first thing he did, he made an observation. All Gandhi could do is make an observation. And don't lie about what you see. Now, that's the key. And don't lie about what you see. You have to stay true. Hold on to the truth with your very life. You got to hold on to this truth. You can't pretend you don't see lynching. You can't pretend. Because violence say, boy, you don't say you saw it. Okay, that's in our house and that's in our community. We can't say to what we saw.
And we've taught our kids.
And you can get molested at home. Don't go there.
But we say we taught our kids.
Yeah.
We say we teach our kids, but adults are the biggest culprit.
But there used to be children who learned the same behavior.
Exactly.
It's learned
behavior. But also nonviolence get you to unlearn that learned behavior. What you doing is very violent. You seeing violence going on in and around you. You have nothing to say, and you only going to blame it on the perpetrators and not your silence.
Right.
Yeah, because I always have an issue with, and I saw the video that you posted earlier with the girls.
Yeah.
And what bothers me about that is the people who stand around and record it. And I think that video played for like 20 minutes.
And all them adults never
all
came.
Those grown
never
people out
came.
there. I think the only thing that I saw that I could kind of get with is the men wouldn't let other guys jump in.
Right.
But other than that, it's like y'all, all of these adults, and they were children, and there were masses of them, but there were also masses of adults. And no one had enough compassion.
And that was their kids.
And love for their children to even say, wait, stop.
But that's not uncommon, though. See, there's only 3 prototypes in human behavior. Either you're going to be a demonstrator, a protester, or a spectator.
Right.
True.
And most Americans most people are spectators.
They just spectators.
I know, because people watch me and be like, hey, bro. And I'll be like, when y'all gonna help? When y'all gonna send $5? You ain't gonna kill yourself.
When y'all gonna call in? 708-223-8953.
They spectate.
When you gonna let us know how you feel about what we're talking about?
They would never do that.
Now, even though they spectate, they still not making the correct observation, because step 2 is you do an investigation. You start to ask questions to what you see.
Yeah.
They are spectate, but they don't.
Oh, they are opinion. But do they think their opinions and comment is participation?
Right.
Because it could be wrong participation.
They don't want to discover that they wrong in their opinion.
Okay.
Because when you discover you wrong in your opinion, you know what you have to do? You got to make
amends.
You got to make the mental adjustment.
Yep.
And most people don't want to make what? They just rather be wrong.
They just want to be wrong, and don't call me on it.
Right.
I'm just wrong.
But that's what.
And you better not say nothing.
And that's what violence is. Violence is wrong. Don't want you to say nothing about it. That's just the way it is. Get your feelings out the way.
You got to accept.
You got to accept it. I don't care if it's segregation, slave, or domestic violence, or bad relationship. These are the domino effects of what makes it a violent situation.
Wow, that's deep.
So after you ask questions, you may discover you are wrong. So you have to what? Make the adjustment. So King, he went to Selma, Alabama. He had to make an observation. See, the people themselves was oppressed. King was not oppressed. He was free.
Well.
No, let me show you. He had to go. The people themselves couldn't see their situation.
Yes, and that's it.
So he had to go. Like they may see you down, go down to Memphis and tell me what you see. Because the people down there ain't looking at it right.
But you know what? And that's the biggest pain in the world. I often say to myself, I never could think I could tie them boys' shoestrings. But somebody reminded me. He said that, first of all, King probably could never do 21 years. And if he did 21 years, bro, somebody said this to me. He said if he did 21 years, the 21 years in that 9x12 cell may have damaged him so to the point that he may not even came out to do the work that you doing after 21 years. Well, a lot of people come home and just want to get back on their feet, get back in their life, and forget about what the hell just happened. You come out. So remember, they was 20-something years old, 30-something years old. You 50-something. So your experience and observations is different.
Way vastly different.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, because I was trying to what I was doing is belittling myself because, and the other thing he said, and I'm gonna let you, and he said that the only reason he great is because after his death, the observations, or like you, I'm just using that word for you, used it as a tool for whatever.
Yeah, sure it is.
So when you doing stuff in real time, people never see the work until long after you gone, unless they helping you in it. But to your point, that they'll watch. Then once you done, wait a minute. What the hell?
And they would sleep through a revolution.
We killed Jesus.
No, they sleep right
We
there.
killed the prophet. What the hell? Now, guess what they do for Jesus? Oh, he was the great. Oh, the Lord. Man, I don't want to hear that. Because if Jesus come right now, all of the people calling and saying his name won't even recognize.
And he ain't gonna recognize.
But that's what's happening. He's been here several times. Jesus, I said myself, I've never seen. I ain't talking about no biblical perspective, a Quranic or Torah perspective. I never seen nobody demonstrate love and God more than I've seen Dr. King. Well, somebody bust your daggone head. These people claiming to be Christian ain't never taken that.
No, but see, but
no, never.
No, but I was
never.
No, but like I said,
never.
Based upon King's character and your character, like I said, you went in, came out better than you when you went in. Mandela was the same way. He spent 26 years. He went in a prison, came out the president. Okay.
Yeah.
It did not take away from his character. It improved his character. And King would have been the same way. He would have improved it. He was
maybe because I often say God gives you your lot, and he dealt with what he had to deal with at that time. Because this time may have been, because there would be no time for me to do that and still come back and be all I can be if Dr. King them hadn't done.
Well, you know how. Let me show you how
they paved the way.
Right, no, let me show you how I used to measure that for me. When my teacher was 19, him, John Lewis, Lafayette did the Nashville City Moon at 19. Well, when I was 19, I was just getting on the broad and smoking a joint.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, these two guys at 19.
Yeah.
Now, what did he see at 19 that? Now I wanted to work for Harold Washington, doing my thing, but there was as many pressing issues for us at
that time.
I think it comes down to what you're exposed to. What are you exposed to? What values are being taught in your household? What are you growing up with? Because see, all of those things play a role. What were they seeing versus what were we seeing? Here, if you grew up here in the city, we were exposed and I grew up on the South Side on the low end. And I just really feel like we were exposed to more on that end of town than people even in other parts of the city were.
Well, exposure opportunity is everything.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. That's what the community is all about.
But I was lucky that when I got exposed to him when I was only 22, which means I was only a couple years off.
Right.
Now that I'm exposed.
Now you got it.
I got it now. But I didn't get it at 42.
Like I did. That was about when I got it.
Wait a minute. And sometimes we don't get exposed till later. I'm lucky I got early exposure, right? And it worked out. But like you're saying, we got to use the science. See, all nonviolence is a scientific method. So you can't solve a problem without first making an observation.
Right.
You have to then ask a series of questions, intelligent questions to verify if you're seeing what you're seeing. Have you ever saw something and then if you ask some questions, it actually changed what you saw?
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose of asking a question about what you see. It's not as
because
obvious,
our things are not always the way they appear.
It's not as it appears.
Yes.
So without questioning, you are then perpetuating violence. So you can't go from I saw what I saw, I'm jumping on you. That's violence.
Well, let me say this. This has been a very heartfelt and informative conversation with you, Brother Phillip, as we at that hour to end. And we'll be inviting you back, and we're gonna continue this process. And I'm really happy in the direction we're taking it, because now with Carter, we could take it in many different directions and continue to build on the conversation as well as our self-preservation. Because God, Lord, no, we need it. And we need information, insight. But as I said, this is the Frontline Show, the Carter Trust. I'm Tyrone Muhammad, and this is our special guest, Phillip Bradley, and sponsored by Support Your Local Weed, man. We got some stuff going on at the cafe tonight. I might try to trick Carter out there, but we got some stuff going on to the cafe tonight, 2113 South State Street. And y'all go ahead and show up tonight. They got a great stuff going on over there. But thank y'all for tuning in. Carter, any last word before we shut it down?
Yes, there's one more thing that the Prisker family has a great amount of stock in. That's the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line.
Ooh, I didn't know that. That's new.
Yes, as I was looking it up, I was like, and I love a good cruise. Won't be taking that one no more, but yeah.
Royal Caribbean. That is. So thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, next Tuesday we'll be back. And we're going to keep it rolling, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the Frontline Show with Tyrone Muhammad, Carter Trust. See you next week.
Always. Thank you for coming.
Y'all have been working too hard for something that didn't need sacrifice. And I guess you didn't take it too far and won't value yourself for the right price. But you are the reason they breathe in the